Because I think most people think of real estate as I want to quit my job and do this. This is
reasonable.
Yeah, this is the complete opposite. Like, listen, I like my job. I like what I do. That's not the main purpose of it. If it gets there, it gets there. But I'm doing it for a totally different reason. I think most people look at it in a totally different way, where it's I make $100,000, I need to make $10,000 a month, and then I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the other side of the coin. It's not always about how can I get rid of my job, right? You can maintain both if you put yourself in the right situation. I think that is something that people have to hear, because a lot of people say, pick one, do this, try that, offset it, full-time real estate investor, whatever. And I think, you're a living, proving example of someone that can do both, and it can be done. So there's no reason why it shouldn't, people shouldn't look to do both.
I will say I recommend all young investors to keep their job. You need income to invest. You need to be able to generate capital in order then to make it work. If you just run away from your income stream, how are you going to be able to scale as quickly as you want? You got to be reasonable. And I think a lot of people, not that they're unreasonable, but have unreasonable expectations. And
they are unreasonable and have unreasonable expectations.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a big thing for me that I've realized a lot lately is over the last 3-4 years, I've been fortunate enough to be able to invest, X amount. And I have a lot of friends that aren't making, significantly less than me. I know they're making good money, especially for living in New York. They've got nothing saved. They've got like next to nothing. But it's just, I think it's more, I think that's something of a cop-out though, because I know it's not like they're making, $40,000 in New York. Because if you're making $40,000 in New York, yes, that's tough. But if you're making $60, $70, $80, $90, $100,000, you can easily live on $40,000 in expenses in New York. Go get roommates and rent and stuff like that.
So you just hit the nail on the head. You need roommates. You can't do it with $40,000. You're the only working parent of 3.
Right.
You're gonna have a really hard time.
No, of course, but I think is there always the person that is doesn't have the resources to get that help? Of course, but even if you have a family, you can go stay with your parents for a couple of years to save up some money. I think too many people are so eager to live that young adult lifestyle of owning a home and having the car and having the dog and having the kids and putting on not this show or these airs, but they have this picture in their head, and I think the picture needs to change from that to the 50-year-old guy who goes to the gym at 10 a.m. every day because he saved up $30, $40, $50,000 a year over the last 25 years and has lived a $40,000 lifestyle, but he's made 80. And I remember there was some article or book or something where they broke down like the average millionaire. The average millionaire lives in a lower middle class neighborhood. They drive like a Toyota or a Honda, and they've just saved like 25% of their income for 30 years.
And they put it to work.
Yeah, and they invest it. They don't just sit on it. And it's like we have this, I think our culture has this picture of what a millionaire is, and it's not a million saved. I think to most people, millionaire is someone who makes $1 million a year. That's not a millionaire. That's a billionaire. You're making $1 million a year. You're a billionaire. You're not a millionaire. It's two totally different things. A millionaire is, the guy with the white New Balances that mows his own lawn. Yeah, that's the millionaire.
So I agree with that 100%.
You can't just book by its cover.
You can't. And I think that I do think it has to be a complete change in perspective, because I think even when you started working for us, and I tell every single person that comes into this office and every kid and the 2 workers we have, I said, you should be living. What is your bare minimum? And don't tell me you need 4 personal trainers and you got to eat, you got to go to Whole Foods and you need 7 cups of Starbucks. None of that is needed. If you really want to do right, live like you make $10,000 and invest every single nickel you possibly can over that, because that's how you're going to be able to get to the place where you want to be. Because I agree, there's no reason why if you're making 60, 70, 80 grand in New York, you can't invest properly.
Yeah, you guys made a good point. Like a lot of people, they should be saving their money, but saving the money is just half the battle. Like I've touched on that when we first started the pies. Saving is just half the battle. Like, if you guys put your money in the bank, inflation is killing it. It's a silent killer. You know what I mean? Inflation's around 2-3% a year. You got $100 grand in the bank at 3% inflation. Let's say you lose around $3 grand a year. It's what, 88 grand after 4 years. If you invest in a deal, $100 grand, you're making 20% a year. It's $1.80. You could have doubled up your money in 4 years. People don't look at it like that. People don't understand because the money's sitting in the bank. They think it's safe. And that it's that idleness can kill. You know,
I have that argument with my mom all the time. She has money in
Yeah.
her 401k and she doesn't even invest. Like she's like, no, just leave. I was like, Ma, you're losing money every year. But
Yeah.
she's like so risk adverse. I was like, go buy a stupid mutual fund. Just
Yeah.
something that makes a little bit more, because right now you're literally losing money.
Well, that's
every
what I was
single
going to say.
year.
I think I somewhat agree with you. I do think it's more than half the battle because I think people overthink what to do with the money. I think if you have
it's hard to invest.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's scary. I don't
Yeah.
think it's hard because I
You
think
gotta
if
take
you
chances.
have, you do. But I think if you have nothing, if you know nothing else and you have no time to learn, that's, just put it in an ETF or a mutual fund and spread it out across several different things.
Yeah.
Do the traditional bonds, equities,
Yeah.
ETFs.
Education.
But if you want to now take that money and do more with it and try to do better, that's where I think, the real estate and stuff comes into play. And you do have to spend more time, and it is more of the battle. But I still think at the end of the day, people's inability to save is significantly more than what to do with the money that you save.
It keeps you from investing. Like you said, I mean, I saved my money for 10 years, you know what I mean? And it was just sitting there. I wanted more control. I made good returns on my money, but I wanted more control. I wanted to put it in an asset class. Everyone says real estate's tangible. You can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. I wanted to put in something that I have control. You have a somewhat control if you put it in different stocks or giving you a good return. You don't have actual control. You're not actually controlling the business per se and the expenses and all that other stuff. So, I mean, I have my money in a lot of different things. Like I said before, I don't want just one income stream. I don't want just money earned from a W-2, money from interest, money from stock paying dividends. It's all about multiple income stream sources for me. And that's kind of what I'm focused on. And real estate is an incredible stream as far as cash flow every single month that's taxed at much lower rates. It's just you can't really put your money in something better to grow wealth that will last from from generation to generation and will only grow with time. And we can touch on other things. You can buy real estate's an asset. You can buy $100,000 property. You can put down 20%. You get all the tax benefits, all the depreciation. The bank owns 80% of it really because you put debt on it, but you're getting 100% of the appreciation. If the property goes up 20%, now it's worth 120. You just turn 20 into 40, and the bank is just making what the bank makes. You know what I mean? And with inflation, you're paying debt today with money that's inflated in the future. It's worth even less. So it's a win-win from all fronts. And we don't need to break down every single profit center in real estate, but
I think
it's
that's
more
incredible.
than you can count on one hand.